Hi there! Today I'm doing something I never done before. I show you a book. And it's not just any book, it's a book from 1953. And it's about television equipment and studios and transmitters and everything you need to know about how television is made and what equipment is needed and how that equipment works. This book was part of a technical training that was given by RCA, the Radio Company of America. And I found it on a flea market and I bought it because of the many interesting images, photos, diagrams, and basically because of the 1950s charm this book has. I scanned a few pages and I will show you them in this video. So this video is more like a slideshow than a video, but if you don't mind, let's get started with it. The book starts with the audio system of a TV studio. Of course, sound is as important as image or picture. It explains all kind of mixing consoles, all kinds of microphones that are available, how to place the microphones, what you can do with microphones. Here is a nice model of a studio. That's the sound control part of the studio. This is a live show with the microphone on a long boom. You can see how that works. Here the text on the left of the picture explains what's the matter with this one. This is a state-of-the-art RCA tape recorder, of course only for audio. Video recording on tapes was not possible at that time. Here we have the audio studio console. Just imagine to sit on that thing. It's like Spaceship Enterprise. There are a few more shots from the master control room. As you can see here, RCA didn't only build the individual devices. If you wanted, you could order an entire TV studio with everything, all made by RCA. Here are some more shots from another TV show. Does someone remember the Mystery Rider? That guy with the black mask and the cowboy hat. Here it looks a little bit like a big data center, but these are not computers. There is everything analog, amplifiers, mixers, everything. And here we have a complete image from TV studios of the 1950s. I don't know if this is a real studio or if it's just a fantasy of the artist. So if you recognize it, let me know. Then having sound is only one side. You have to place your microphones at the correct spot, so the pickup technique is pretty important. Also the acoustics, so reflections, everything. Then also sound dampening. Here are a few diagrams how you record a big orchestra. This room with its sound deflection panels looks already pretty modern, so you could have that in your town right now, probably, who knows. Then, if you want to build your own TV studio, here are the plans. I'm wondering what this mobile unit is, some sort of truck like this one, perhaps. There is of course also a diagram of this truck, so here you can see where everything is. The round things at the rear of the trucks here, that's the cable spools, where all the cameras get connected and power and everything. And there are also a lot of technical details on how to build a studio with sound isolation so that the sound doesn't travel from one room to another. And of course, no manual is complete without the sexy girl shot here. Followed by a schematic diagram of an entire TV studio. And then, of course, cameras, the most important thing in a TV studio. Those are all RCA cameras, of course. They will advertise their own products in this course, of course. And here we have one of those cameras open, the black thing and on the rear that looks like a speaker, that's the CRT for the viewfinder. And that's the camera part without the viewfinder. You see all the knobs and buttons to adjust image and picture quality. At that time there have been two major image pickup tubes. This is the iconoscope and the other one is the Vidicon. They work in different ways. Here is again the monitor part of the camera, the viewfinder, with that looking tube there. I think that's the one Mr. Spock used on the Enterprise. Here we have an external monitor with the built-in oscilloscope right below the main screen. And that's the same thing open. You see the two image picture tubes there, CRTs. Another important device is the slide scanner. This is used to show photos or logos. The light source of this scanner is a CRT, and the moving dot on the screen of that CRT is used to scan the slides, and then you only need a photosensitive tube on each side for each magazine, for each slide. And then you can fade electronically from one slide to the other. That's one of the first video effects here in the book. Here's that optical mechanism, and there you see the photo detector tube that finally makes the video signal. And of course the machine has a number of dramatic video effects. You can fade diagonally with a circle, with a triangle. And here is another video effects box. Here are the different fades and also a joystick. An interesting detail is this metal part above the joystick. So I think you can slide that down and use it as some sort of ruler to make a perfect diagonal movement with the joystick along this metal part, something like that. Interesting. And here is a collection with a couple of different video effects, all kinds of fades and shapes, arrows, pointers. A very important chapter here in the book is the use of film, because magnetic video recording was not possible, so everything was either recorded on film or they played films from the cinema in the evening TV. There are different ways to get film into the camera. For example, this one with the special adapter. You have a film projector and a camera. You put them together. And here is the same thing, but all in one case, the camera and the projector. And this is a schematic diagram of a film projector. The only difference here to a normal cinema projector is you don't have a steady light, you have a flashlight that flashes every frame of the film for a brief moment, and then it gets scanned. And here we stumble upon a fundamental problem of film scanning for TV. Cinema film has 24 frames per second, and US TV has 30 full frames or 60 half frames per second, and that doesn't much. Here on the first diagram you can see a 35mm theater projector, and you can also see that each frame has the same length, frame 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the middle you see the light flashes. They are at 60 Hz or 30, and a couple of these hit the frame, hit between the frames. So what they do is they modify the projector to have one frame a little bit shorter and one frame a little bit longer, and so the light pulses hit each frame 2 times or 3 times. This is a pretty simple and beautiful method because the overall film speed doesn't change. You only change the duration of the frames. You make one frame shorter, you make the other frame a little bit longer, and in total you have the same number of frames in the same number of minutes. So how did they do that? They simply changed one gear. It's this 720 RPM Geneva gear here. And instead of having these 2 pins here at 180 degrees, they changed it to 144 degrees on one side and the rest on the other side. So when that turns, it turns at the same speed as on a regular projector, but instead of moving the film regularly, it moves the film tadak, 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 1 frame short, 1 frame long. Here is a short explanation about safety film. So what's safety film? Old film before 1950 has been made from nitrocellulose, a really hazardous substance. It was the first plastic material, transparent, strong, but could explode, burn, and above 38 degrees Celsius it could self-ignite. So very dangerous stuff. And safety film is modern plastics that will still burn, but at least it doesn't explode. Television to film recording. Well, as I said earlier, there was no magnetic recording of television video signals. Sound, yes, but not the video. So the only way to record something, for example to show it later or to send it to another station, was to copy it on film. And here are 2 of these machines. These are virtually CRTs that are filmed with a film camera, and then you need to develop that film and you can send it to wherever you want. From 1985 to 1989 I was an apprentice in the Swiss TV, SRF or DRS as it was named then. And when I was there, they tore down the old film development unit. And when they digged out the old sewer pipes, they found a lot of silver in them. In fact, it was enough silver, several hundred kilos, to make a keychain for every employee, and that's how this looks. That's a massive silver keychain. It's about 44 grams. And every single one of the 800 employees got one of these. And if you want to see how the Swiss TV looked in 1990, I have a video on my channel. You can visit and see for your own. Next chapter, video monitors. This is a regular small monitor you can find in a control room, something like that. Here is a more sophisticated monitor, which also has an oscilloscope built in underneath the CRT. And here is a block diagram of that thing, if you're interested in the details. Then we also have microwave transmission lines. These are normally used between the studio and the transmitter, or mobile units for when the mobile truck is on the way. They set that up to transmit their signals to the studio. And this is the receiving end on the antenna mast of the transmitter. An important part, of course, is illumination, because without light there is no video. This is a view of different light sources. So there are mobile light sources, others that can be dragged down from the ceiling. A whole chapter in the book is about tripods, pedestals, dollies, whatever you need. When you look at that picture, you see there are some skirts around the wheels, and these are to prevent the wheels to roll over cables, because if you ever try to roll over a thick cable, that's almost impossible. You will suddenly stop, and if there is a camera mounted, you will see that in the TV at the end. Also interesting is the sheer weight of these cranes. This one is over 3,000 pounds, and that's without the camera and without the cameraman. The last device in the signal path is, of course, the transmitter and then the antenna. In those days, cable TV wasn't the thing, and of course everything was transmitted through the air. And here we have the only thing that is not from RCA. It's a television oscilloscope from Tektronix, type 424. Yeah, I think RCA had nothing better, so they advertised for that one. RCA also had a whole range of transmitters from 2 kilowatt to 50 kilowatt or even more. And from the look at it, they just added more cabinets and, well, added more power. And for those who are interested, there is a block diagram of such a transmitter. RCA, one of the biggest electronics manufacturer of the time, also made the tubes for the transmitters, of course. Who else? This is a test pattern that appears a couple of times in this book. I'm not sure if it's only used by RCA or also by some TV stations. And here we have the control console for such a transmitter. That's the screen that actually shows what is transmitted. So if that guy turns the power off button, you don't watch TV tonight. And the last chapter in the book are antennas and antenna towers. They are, of course, important to spread the signal as wide and as long as possible. And of course, TV antennas are not just a piece of wire that hangs in the air. They are pretty complicated because they have to spread the signal all around 180 degrees equally if possible. So here is a schematic diagram of such an antenna tower or antenna array. That's also an interesting chart. That's where you expect the highest winds. So the black areas are high wind areas, the gray areas are medium, and the white areas are low wind regions. And here we are at the last picture. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this little trip through an old book. Thanks for watching.